Mick Beckman with the Final Score.tv. Joining me today is Nick Campos, one of the community leaders in Southwest Washington. He's part of the Battleground School District and primarily with Prairie High School. Nick Campos, thanks for joining us today. As I bring you in, tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah, good to be with you, Nick. Like I said, my name's Nick Campos. I have a couple of kids who are at Prairie High School currently, and some girls that are coming up through the school district. And my background's mostly in transportation and logistics. Started a few companies in that space. Worked my career around people and seeing the value of competition and within organizations and the role that youth sports plays. And we have challenges within our own school district here. So it caused desire to get in and help out where I can.
Well, and that's the thing these days. The environment for that support system for the schools and different districts. I mean, it's up and down and all across the state. What's your driving force to keep these programs going and active for these kids?
Well, I'd say some of it's probably the base level is empathy. When I moved up here from California when I was in seventh grade, California is, maybe the example of what it should be in the rest of the United States, that they never cut sports. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist. Never heard of it down there. But when we moved up here when I was in seventh grade, we moved into Hawkinson, a school district in Southwest Washington, and they had failed levies. Didn't know it. When we moved up here, we wouldn't have even thought of that as even a situation that could exist. But I played a lot of basketball. I loved basketball. It was my passion, and it was not available. So we were able to do community ed, but it's just a different experience with that. And it's a different feeder program to the high schools when you come from that versus when you come from an organized school sanctioned program. So I felt like I was wronged during that period of time. And I certainly didn't appreciate it. It's something I grew. It's part of my life story. And it's part of the things that make me who I've become. However, it was probably an unnecessary thing to have to endure. So the kids having to go through it now, I think is a real challenge, and it's a raw deal for them. So if I can be of influence to do it, I want to, both financially and through my efforts and time. Now, to couch that, I would also say that I do understand where most of the taxpayers come from, right? Like, we live in an environment where we have very little control over how our tax dollars are spent, who chooses to tax us and how. We feel like, as most taxpayers likely do, that there's a constant assault on our wallet, constant assault on who we are, and so much of it we don't have control on. When a levy comes across, it's that one moment where a person has control, and with the circle of their pen on a no, they can feel better about themselves for a minute. They can feel that sense of control for just a minute. And I think most people, if they took a second to think about it, would come to a different conclusion than they do. These are the young people that will eventually be working and paying our Social Security. They're the ones that will eventually buy companies that we either own or work for. They're the ones that will lead the world. And sports are the very opportunity for them to learn and understand the most critical aspect that any one person can learn in life, and that's failure. Without failure, there is no success. You don't understand what it is. It's not even an understandable are tied at the hip. They're critically of critical importance. And I've seen a way the high school coaches have shaped my boys, and I know many people who will listen to your show have that same feeling for the coaches that have supported them. And to take that away for any reason, it should frankly be against the law. It shouldn't be allowed.
Well, and I share your passion in basketball and the love of high school sports and the value that competitive sports in general bring to an individual, as well as to teach them skills for life. And like you said, these high school kids, these junior high kids are right now going to be our future leaders. They are going to be the people that you just spoke about. And that is such a huge point in pointing out that it's not necessarily about winning games and winning records and doing that. It's about learning how to handle failure. I know that you've been raising funds for the middle schools to hold a track meet. How has that come about, and how's that coming for you?
Yeah, so I love track and field. I didn't do it in high school. I did it at Clark College after I graduated. A gentleman named Eric Anderson, who was the coach at Clark College. He's unfortunately passed away young, but I took a health class with him, and we did the mile. And he said, "Hey, you should come do track. And so I joined him and I started to do the decathlon and I like fell in love with that as an event. So, the thing that's unique about track is that in most events in track, many events, it's a guaranteed failure. You're gonna fail. If you're a high jumper, the thing that ends a high jump competition is failure. It's the last jump's a miss every single time. Like, unless the person just chooses not to take his last jump, but the last one is always a miss. It's always a scratch. So, and the same thing goes for so many of them. There's always somebody just a little bit faster that can jump a little higher, that's just a little bit better. It's really the closest thing to an individual sport that can exist. It's really just you versus you. And that is life. That is like if you're starting a company, these things are marathons. And I've been fortunate to have some great mentors during my career that have showed me the nature that consistency is far more important than capability, that doing the same things over and over again with defined discipline leads to the outcomes in which you seek. How you eventually learn to approach life, and track's a great way for that. So we've set out with partnership on this first track meet in March 14th with Whisper Running. They're a local club team. So it allows them to host a club event and allows an opportunity for our middle school and high school athletes to run to join the event and to participate in. This one is only running. And then so that's our kickoff to the track season. It's through private funding and partnership and with the schools and community ed to help us drive the signups for it. But it's just fledgling. We're just getting it off the ground. But I have big hopes that it will grow into something. And that's really the key, right? It's like anything. You just have to start. First Lady Roosevelt she said, start anywhere. That was always her famous quote, start anywhere. And this is where we're starting. So we'll do cross country in the fall and then develop some of the additional sports around there with the parental volunteers. All depending on how much parental volunteers we get, we'll see how high we can fly.
And see, and that's just wonderful. They just, and I love that start anywhere because the foundation has to be laid. You have to have a good foundation to be able to build off of anything, not making it too big, not making it too, trying to be too much right off the bat allows you that opportunity to lay that foundation, to get the framework in place so that you can recruit more volunteers so people can see the actual good that's being done in their community. How do you go about raising funds? Where can people get a hold of you or donate to what you've got going on?
So the way we're approaching it is booster led. I've known Quan Martin, who's the Prairie High School track coach, for a long time. He was actually one of the track coaches at Clark College when I was there, which is kind of a fun full circle environment for that. So we've been utilizing boosters as the means to provide it. At the end of the day, it's going to be the success of our Prairie High School athletics is going to be the channels that produce athletes into those sports from the middle school levels. Utilizing the Booster Club as the vehicle, we're able to raise funds and allocate those funds. It might mean fewer T-shirts and fun things that high schoolers get, but what it does, it creates opportunity for the younger athletes. This really comes down to time and energy. Our success or failure is going to be determined far less by money and far more by the engagement of the community and getting behind these kids and choosing to fight for this. But what you can't manufacture are the opportunities to learn and grow with fellow classmates. That's what every business has a value proposition, and the value proposition of a public school is not necessarily what's taught in textbooks or what's taught in various classes. It's the connections that they make with individual teachers who show them care, compassion, concern. It's the drama club that they participate in where they get to express themselves in a unique way. It's the band, the pep band that they get to be part of that plays athletes out or comes to a basketball game and really hits hard during those moments when a pep band delivers that noise that people love, right? It's that moment that you have when you, as a team, you travel somewhere far away and you fail and you fail miserably and you drive home together and nobody says a word. Well, these are the things that public school gives as a value proposition that means something. My oldest son, not overly athletic, he does sports though, and he enjoys it, and it's been a passion of his to get incrementally better each and every year. Everybody gets to choose the things they value, they get to choose the things they prioritize, and they get to choose the things in which they find excellence in. And those things do not have to be the same, and that's the beauty of the world. And that's the school system's value proposition. They just don't realize it.
They learn by being a member of a team, be it an
Yeah.
individual on a track team who's trying to compile their points in their discipline for the overall team goal. Nick Campos, I want to thank you very much for your involvement with Battleground School District and Prairie High School in general, and what you're doing for the community. This is exactly what the FinalScore.tv is all about, is shining a light for people like yourself on getting people to understand that high school sports is about community. So Nick Campos from Prairie High School, thank you so much for joining us today on the FinalScore.tv.